Redditors that have gone on Tinder dates, what was your worst and weirdest experiences? He made me watch his homemade rap videos and tried to like his own FB page on my phone. This might have been the most painful one to read on here. Met at a coffee shop, she's there early. I order my drink, sit down, she looks at me and this is her first sentence. Let's cut to the chase, I need a father for my 4 sons, I got up and left. Just like their actual fathers, eh? I met a girl for a date who turned out to be much better looking than her photos, which is always a nice surprise. The date went well, just dinner and a walk, and we said our goodbyes. The next day she invited me out to a friend's birthday party downtown as her +1. I wanted to go but I had to work the next day and wanted to be able to drink a little since it was a bunch of people I didn't know. She said, that's alright, you can park at my house and sleep over, cha-ching, so, of course, I said yes. Fast forward to the middle of the party, I'm enjoying myself chatting it up with her friends and having a good time, and next thing I know she absolutely loses it and storms out of the bar leaving me there. Drank. With her friends. I still have no idea why. One of them told me, she wants you to go after her, and I said, frick that, it's our second date, which not a single person blamed me for. I stayed at the party and switched to water while I continued talking with her friends. That was over a year ago, and I still regularly hang out with them. They have since stopped talking to her. Too long didn't read. No saxophone, but got to keep all her friends. Perfectly nice date, 20 minutes into it, she says, I'll be honest. I know what I need in a man, and you don't have it. At 25, I would have been crushed. Wondering what it was would have kept me up for days. Being 35, I thanked her for being blunt and was happy to have an unexpectedly free evening. I will be totally honest, at 45, I would have greatly appreciated her honesty. Then cried myself to sleep that night. Regardless of anything else, I would have felt like a complete failure. But I still would have respected her honesty. Not me, but my friend went on a really great Tinder date a few months ago. She said they really seemed to hit it off, they got some margaritas, had a fun but very deep conversation about life and other philosophical things, and then made out a little bit. She didn't hear from him the rest of the weekend, which felt odd. BC, she had such a great feeling about him. She usually has a great radar with these things. She ended up followed him on Facebook to see what he was up to. He unfortunately 18,2,738,255 himself. She was lying about her age. And wanted a baby, immediately. We went out for drinks, then walked around the park and was an enjoyable date. I took her home and parked next to her apartment. She said I shouldn't park there because I'll get towed. I said I only need 3 minutes to walk you to your door. She said seriously, you should park in Visitors since you can stay all night and not get towed. I responded that I only need 3 minutes to walk you to your door. I am not a smart man. Thought this was going to end with your car being towed in the 3 minutes, and still thought she was just trying to be helpful until I read it a second time. My profile pic is a toilet. The first time I met a girl we actually talked about toilets for an hour. Your pic is a toilet and you got a match. Thanks for rubbing it in. Not an awful date, but after I told him I wasn't interested in pursuing it further, he insisted that I left my socks at his place and I had to get them because they look like really nice socks and I'm sure you would want them back. This went on for several days. Edit, obviously it was a weird ploy to get me back to his house, I just think he could have thought of something way better. I mean, it was winter so clearly I put my socks and shoes back on before leaving. I know I'm late to the party, but man do I have a doozy. So last year, after getting out of a horrible sort of relationship, I decided to try something casual and use Tinder. Got lots of responses, everything is going well. The dates were mostly lackluster and I figured I was just being too picky. So I decided, the next 5 people to ask me on a date gets a yes. Bad move. So the first guy I'm able to go on a date with wants me to drive into the city, 45 minutes away, so we would have more stuff to do. Annoying but sorta understandable as I'm in a suburb without much exciting things to do. We meet, he looks like his pictures, we say hello and he tells me that we're gonna go play soccer in the park. Cool. I love sports. On the way we start talking and asking questions about each other, and I'm getting the vibe we aren't such a great match. I love to travel, he has zero desire. He only likes obscure sports, I love them all. But hey, I'm here. Stick with it. The entire time he talks about how he makes so much money and how embarrassing it is for his friend to only make $60K a year at his dream job. I make half of that. I would have left considering the love connection, or lack thereof, but I figured I'd be polite until after lunch. We head out and we arrive. Dollar taco. Which, don't get me wrong, you don't have to splurge. But he looked me up and down and said, "You gotta earn your meals first," and gave me a creepy freaking smile. Nope. I feign a fake phone call and have to leave, but he insists on walking me to my car. We get there, and I try to shrug him off and GTFO, but then, it happens. He leans in for a kiss. But not just any kiss. Open mouth, tongue out. And as he leans in, his crotch brushes against my leg. Unfortunately for him, the soccer shorts didn't conceal his raging baseball bat. So I did what any caught-off-guard girl would do. I accidentally laughed in his mouth. Oops. I was too awkward to say anything and just got in the car, driving away. That's the outcome he deserves, TBH. Actually, that's probably the best outcome possible: unexpected laughter and then driving away, never to be heard from again. Friend from class matched with my then girlfriend, now ex. He informed me of the match and proceeded to set up a coffee date. Instead of him showing up to the date, I did. I had the pleasure of watching my girlfriend freak the frick out. Met up for a coffee after having quite a nice chat over Tinder for a few days. He sits down and says, "Hey, nice to meet you," then continues to pull out his laptop and sit there in complete silence for the next hour. I had nothing with me but my phone, since I thought coffee date means conversation. Should have left sooner. You sure it was the same guy? Seems like you just Saturday down with some guy at a coffee shop. Hope I am not too late to this party. I went on a date with this guy who I thought was pretty level-headed. We had dinner, coffee and said our goodbyes. On the date, they consistently spoke about Michigan. Michigan is better than Chicago this way, the people in Michigan are so much nicer than the ones from your home state, we are the smartest in the nation, etc., etc., etc. The only times they broke away from the subject of Michigan was to talk about how inadequate I was with my career, health and love life. They even said, "I can tell you are trying to be funny, but it's not working." Later that night, once they dropped me off, they went on to text me saying, "Hey, I enjoyed our time together, but you're a bit wider than I was expecting." I understood his comment and decided not to reply back. 20 minutes later, I receive other texts from him saying, "It's okay, though. I would love for you to get bigger. I want to help you gain as much weight as possible. I love dating fat people." To top it off, his last text was, "You'll need all that fat when you move to Michigan, frick you, Michigan." Edit again. The date found out about this post and we talked it out. After talking with them, we have reached an understanding to both sides of the story. I wasn't expecting Reddit to give me closure about a date months later. Yay for a satisfying ending. Met one charmer after talking for a few weeks. After agreeing to meet at a nearby coffee shop, I show up right on time. 10 minutes later I get a text from him to come outside. Seems sketchy, but there's people about, so why not? I stand directly in front and he appears out of nowhere in a hoodie. We walk a bit before he asks me to walk down a darkly lit street. I say I'm uncomfortable and he immediately starts waking away. I assume he's joking and call him only to hear him screaming at me on the other end. He sends me a text a couple of days later insulting my hair and telling me to suck my big wiener, you witch. Too long didn't read guy wanted to dharma me, then proceeded to call me horrible awful things. Thank you, internet. I got matched with a friend of mine I was really interested in and everything was really cool. We ended up dating for a couple months after the first night we spent together. Then she slept with one of my best friends. That wasn't really cool. If you wanna be my lover, you gotta get with my friends. Albert E. Roosevelt. My first date with this guy would have been his cat's funeral. Luckily I had the common sense not to take it that far. I had matched with a guy and we began to be hitting it off, so I gave him my cell number. And of course he became increasingly strange. He was telling me about his cat and how he was worried about her because she was very ill. Okay, I understand having a sick pet is sad. Then he began to tell me about their relationship and how she was always there for him. Yup, I'm close to my animals too, that's fine. But then he began discussing how he doesn't know what to do if his cat dies, how he might hurt himself unless I would be willing to take his cat's place. No. After that I stopped talking to him. He then started messaging me. Furiously, he told me how his cat died and he needs me to talk him through this. I express my condolences and try to shake him off. He then proceeds to explain how we should meet at his cat's funeral. I don't respond. I didn't intend on becoming a skin suit anytime soon. His last text to me was an angry ramble describing in graphic detail how it was to eat his cat's ashes. He consumed his cat. Ooh ha 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 hee 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 ha. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to Reddit Said It. Or don't. I'm not your boss.